masters of speed. This is Formula One.
Yo, hello there, how you doing? Hope you're good, hope you're well. So, COTA, Circuit of the Americas at Texas. Let's go and get this setup. And straight away, you guys are probably thinking, why on earth have I gone for a Hungary-style setup or Hungary-style wings around COTA? Let me explain. So, first of all, I've gone with 50 on the front wing and 41 on the rear. Back in 22-ish time, this COTA used to be quite a low downforce circuit. However, as the game has progressed with the heavier cars, that needed a change. There are two straights. Obviously, you've got the main straight, which is start-finish straight, and then you've got the long back straight. That is the only two parts on this circuit where high downforce will affect you. Obviously, because you've got higher wings, so there's going to be more drag. So you ain't going to be that fast down the straight. However, Sector 1 and then Sector 2 and 3 are basically all high downforce corners. So it's better to sacrifice top speed to have more downforce to be a lot faster in the corners. Obviously, you've got the S's of Sector 1. You've then got, after the long straight, basically it's all pretty much like hairpins and 90-degree corners. Okay, the corners are not 90 degrees, but they're nearly 90 degrees. So we have gone with a Hungary-style setup, and that is why. And trust me, it is far better to be faster in corners than it is faster than the straight, because there are far more corners in a circuit, especially like COTA, than straights. So this is why we've gone with 50 on the front and 41 on the rear. On the transmission then, I've gone with a really low diff on. Obviously, that helps with traction. There aren't very many traction zones until you get to Sector 2. Obviously, you've got the right-hander. Oh, you've got like it's kind of a mini double right-hander, and then into like the hairpin left, and then the long right-hander, and then like another 90-degree left downhill. So yeah, I've gone with a really low on diff to help with traction. Obviously, again, if this becomes if you're struggling for traction, obviously turn it down. By all means, turn it down. But for this setup, for the sake of this setup, I've gone with 35 on diff, gone with 55 off diff. Helps with slowing the car down and getting, well, just generally all around helps. On the engine braking, again, 100%. There are quite a few places around here where obviously battery will recharge. So just, yeah, keep it at 100 for maximum recharge, because obviously you can use it. Obviously, it's better off to keep the ERS for that main straight, obviously to help with top speed. On the suspension geometry then, and shock. It's left. On the suspension then, going with, again, a firm one, stiff one. Which is pretty standard, really. Unfortunately, it's just standard setups. The setups don't really change from circuit to circuit, obviously, and it's all down to the way the game is and how heavy the cars are. You need, obviously, stiff or firm front, so suspension, anti-roll bar, and then you need quite a lower front wing and a higher rear wing, ride height, sorry. So yeah, on the front suspension then, I've gone with 41 on the front, and I've gone with 6 on the rear. It's pretty standard. Obviously, you can go lower if you want less rear movement. I wouldn't recommend going any lower than 2, but for the sake of this setup, I've gone with 6 on the rear. Roll bar, front anti-roll bar is pretty much 21 whatever circuit you visit. So as long as you can remember 41 on the front suspension and 21 on the front anti-roll bar, yeah, just go mad. Just create your own setup, change the setup to suit you. But it's pretty much those two are staples. You know, like suspension geometry, left. Front suspension, 41. Front anti-roll bar, 21. Tires, same pressures. You know, only other bits in between change. Go mad. But yeah, on the anti-roll bar then, going with 16. Again, if the rear is too stiff, drop it down. If it's not enough, take it up. Run max. You know, getting away with running maximum is fine. But for me, the way I drive on this base setup, I've gone with 16 on the rear. Gone with a ride height of 24. You could go higher if you want. I thought that this worked well. Like I said, you can ride the curbs a little bit in Sector 1. Just be mindful of those curbs when tyre wear is high. The last thing you want to do is get full on the curbs with high tyre wear and spin, because you will. Trust me. And the reason why I've gone with such a high front ride height is simply because the way the track changes. Obviously, into turn 1, it's uphill, and then out of turn 1, it's downhill. And then it's the same then at the end of the long straight. It's a downhill braking zone into a left-hander. And basically the car can bottom out. If you feel that 24 is too low, again, take it up. Yeah, don't be afraid to. But again, for me, in the sake of this setup, I've gone with 24 on the front. And then I've gone with a ride height of 60. Again, if you feel that you're bleeding too much speed down the main straight, before I continue, you need to bear in mind that you've got high wings. So, yeah, take this down. Wouldn't recommend going any lower than 56. But for the sake of this setup, 60 works well for me. Onto the brakes, I've gone with 98% pressure. Again, you can go down to 97. I wouldn't recommend going any lower than 95, simply because you will struggle like crazy to slow the car down. But I've gone with 98% brake pressure, and I've gone with 56 on the brake bias. If you find the rears are locking too much, I have noticed that with this game, when you have high tyre wear, maybe like 15-20%, I have noticed that the rears tend to lock a lot more than they would if obviously you were on brand new tyres. So I do change the brake bias up to 57, but to start off I always use 56. But yeah, again, this only applies to ABS off users. Onto the tyres then, and it's 29.0 on the front and 26.0 on the rear, and that's it. This has been Texas. I really hope it helps. Love hearing all the comments and reading all the comments in the comment section. Honestly, I really enjoy reading them, and I'm glad that I can help so many people, because the reason why I do this is I remember exactly what it was like when I first started, and there wasn't a setup to be found. And even back then, TT setups were horrendous to use in a race, and I quickly learned that creating your own setups was the way to go. Do all that good stuff. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and lads, honestly, thank you ever so much. Take care. Peace.